It's a jam-packed schedule here in the NHL on a Tuesday. We're going to break down a few games for you, give you a show best bet, talk about some props and some great promotional stuff as well. $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. Every single handicapper has one play up and available for $5. Carm, last night, as I mentioned, there were only 3 games, but man, 3 good games at that. And we definitely saw some good hockey last night. How you doing, Carm?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Truth be known, I didn't watch any of the NHL games last night. I didn't even watch the NFL games last night because I didn't have much action going, if at all. I had 1-2% play up, so wanted to have an early night, watch some Netflix, and check the scores this morning. Watched a bunch of the highlights online. Damn, that Edmonton game was full of action and goals. Looked like the Oilers had it in control if you look at the numbers. But the Florida Panthers, somehow, I take the Florida Panthers when they score no goals. And and I I talked on yesterday's show about liking the Edmonton Oilers, and Florida finds 6 in that game. And Thatcher Demko looked pretty good as well too in goal, as they pretty much contained the Colorado Avalanche. So I felt like my life last night, if I was watching the games, Andrew, would have been like that Seinfeld episode where Jerry says to George, if everything you do is wrong, then the opposite must be right. Because that's how it felt looking back at my thoughts on yesterday's games. But today, just a huge slate of action. We are going to talk. You and I were going to wear our ugly sweaters for this one, but we're going to talk the Buffalo Sabres and Montreal Canadiens. That has to be the marquee game of the night, I have to believe. Then we're going to talk New Jersey Devils, St. Louis Blues. You're going to have your prop program, hopefully some prop winners for the guys in our chat. And then we're going to finish it off with Ottawa and Seattle Kraken. Game 1 of a 9-game road trip for the Ottawa Senators. We'll see if that run good that they've had recently, Andrew, can continue. And then we'll do some best bets and close out the show. Prez is was supposed to be on today, but he will return next week. He's doing double duty Monday and Tuesday, as I'll be traveling back from Vegas. So I'm off Thursday and Friday, guys. I will have a 6 and 60 for you. And I will report from Thursday's game that I'm going to with Brian Leonard and Marco D'Angelo as the Vancouver Canucks and the Vegas Golden Knights play at T-Mobile Stadium. But Andrew, the Canadiens and the Sabres. What are the sports books thinking, Andrew, in this one? The Sabres, I'll give my thoughts after you. The Sabres, 10-game losing streak, Andrew, and they are favorites in Montreal, the city where your team resides, the Montreal Canadiens, the team with the most Stanley Cups ever in the NHL. Give me your thoughts on this one.
I mean, my thoughts are this. You got a team that's on a 10-game losing streak, and they're the favorite. Not just the favorite, but, I mean, they took money overnight at some spots, and some spots, well, look, I noticed that Circa saw some money come in on Montreal, and pretty much every other sports book had money come in on the Buffalo Sabres, Carm. The last time these teams played, it was an early start game, and it finished 7-5. We saw 1-1, 3-2, 3-2. It was just a jam-packed game with just a bunch of periods that just had a ton of goals. And this is the thing here. When 2 bad teams get together, typically you see goals because, hey, they feel this is a winnable game. They feel this is a game that we can get up for. And the Montreal Canadiens were downright embarrassed a few games ago. And unfortunately for them, their game that they were embarrassed to get in against the Penguins, they had to follow up that against the Winnipeg Jets. They played okay against the Winnipeg Jets, but they had way too many penalties, so they lose that one. But this is the deal with the Buffalo Sabres, Carm. If there's ever a team to talk about team totals with, it's the Buffalo Sabres. Because I don't care if you're betting on or against this team. You want to just take the team total for this Buffalo Sabres team. because there's been so many games where they've had the lead and they've blown it. They've been right there in the third period and they give up a goal or two late in the game. And there was a post that came out saying that the owner of the team flew to Montreal to meet with the team to talk with them about how they've been playing. And here's the thing. As a Montreal Canadiens fan, watching and looking at all these reports online, every Canadian fan knows what's about to happen. We all know what's about to happen. Every team comes to us to get rid of a bad streak. Okay. I've seen this song and dance before. I've heard it before. Buffalo, 10-game losing streak. They're going to come to Montreal. They're going to get the job done. Montreal has lost a few, so I do expect a focused effort here, but it's hard for me not to look towards the over. But more specifically, you know where I'm going with this one, Carm. I got to go over in the first period, over 1.5 goals. You're not getting the best price on this one by any means, but this is a game where both teams are going to show urgency. Both teams are going to have desperation, and both teams are not happy after their last few games, because there's games you can lose with respect, right? But both these teams lately haven't even been losing as much with respect. They've been losing in very bad ways. And then for a team like Buffalo, as I mentioned, even in games that you think they're going to win, they blow the lead late in the game. So over 1.5 first periods the play for me. If you're playing the Buffalo Sabres, make sure you get that plus 110, 115 on the team total to get to 4. But this is definitely a head scratcher here, Carm. You got the road team that's lost 10 games in a row. Some books showing minus 135 right now. I don't know, man. If this was a road game, I would tell you to feel free to fade my Habs, but at home against other bad teams, they've been okay this season. So I'm curious how you feel about your Sabres tonight, but I don't see why. I'm not saying we're going to see 12 goals in this game, but I don't see why this one can't go over. You know, it might not be a 7-5 result, but I don't see how this one can't see some goals once again here. Do you agree?
I agree. I think scoring as a whole, though, on the NHL, let's put aside the Edmonton game yesterday, has started to drop. This is why you're seeing, if you look at the WagerTalk live lines, which is absolutely free, you're seeing 6s, you're seeing 5.5s. We didn't see 5.5s early in the season, but we're starting to see them now. Andrew, I am not a sadomasochist, so I am not watching more than 20 minutes of this game. 20 minutes and I'm out as far as this game goes. I'm taking the Sabres first period. It's minus 120. We talk about a team that's lost 10 straight. I get it. And this is putting the fandom of the Buffalo Sabres aside, because I'm a fan of the team that I put money on that wins for me. But you look at that, the losing streak, and you look at strength of schedule. It's a very tough strength of schedule. 1-0 loss to the Minnesota Wild. They lose 4-3 in overtime to Vancouver. 5-4 against Colorado, a game in which I think they led 4-0 at the end of the first period, and they lose the game 5-4. 3-2 in overtime against Winnipeg. These are all teams that they're competing with, but they're losing games. 5-3 against the Sabres. They call up and I talked about Levi getting called up by the Sabres. They called him up to play one game, lose, and then send them back to the minors, which is what they did yesterday. They lose to the Washington Capitals. So they've played a lot of competitive teams. The Canadiens have been good since Patrick Laine returned, but they're also a team that's lost 3 of the last 4. They beat the Anaheim Ducks in that one game over the last 4, and they've allowed 19 goals. They allowed 9 to the Pittsburgh Penguins at home. The Sabres can score. They're getting healthy. Luukkonen should be in goal tonight. A lot of that beginning of that losing streak for the Sabres had a lot to do with the fact that Rasmus Dahlin was out of the lineup for the Sabres, and he's the guy that fuels their defense. It's the same as, and not a comparison, same as you take Cale Makar out of the lineup. There's still a lot of stars up front, but you need that puck-moving defenseman and a guy who's a crucial part of your power play in the lineup. With that guy missing, that started the ball rolling downhill and sort of steamrolled from there and turned into a boulder. for the Buffalo Sabres, and it's 10 losses in a row now. Would it be surprising if it was 11 losses after tonight? No, but I think the Sabres are the right play here. Books aren't giving away free money at giving you Montreal at plus money here. It's priced at minus 125, minus 130 for a reason. But I'm not watching more than 20 minutes of this game, Andrew. So first period, Sabres, and I'm out. One game I do want to watch, Andrew, is the St. Louis Blues, New Jersey Devils, minus 185 on the Devils in St. Louis. Jim Montgomery's turned his team around, plus 155. The over-under is 6.5. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts overall, Carm, is that this St. Louis Blues team has done really well since Jim Montgomery took over. In fact, I believe they've done better than the Boston Bruins have done since Jim Montgomery left. I think they've been a really solid team. But when I take a look at, the Devils right now, this team just seems to be a really locked-in team. When they have a really bad performance, they seem to turn things around once again. One thing kind of interesting, though, and you've talked about this a lot on the show, especially last year you used to mention this, road versus home splits. Some teams are just better at home. Some player props are worth betting more at home versus on the road. And I'll tell you, the case here with this Devils team is I'm actually more intrigued to bet on them when they're on the road versus when they're playing at home, Carm. And so when I look at this number here for them, and I look at the number you can get for the team total, I think I have to look at this Blues team. Over 3.5 is a really good price. You're going to get a small plus price. I'm seeing plus 105. Devils team total over 3.5 goals. When you got this Blues team right now that's just squeaking out victories, 3-2 over the Rangers, and then they had a 2-1 loss against the Blues, against the Stars, but their win over the Canucks was only by 1 goal. This is a team that is playing well, but let's not kid ourselves. They're just scraping by. They're just kind of maintaining, they're almost like avoiding embarrassment. They don't lose big. They don't win big at any games. But I think the Devils are going to get on a little run here in this little mini road trip. I think you have seen spots where this Blues team have given up chances. And let's not kid ourselves, right? They played a Rangers team that is really struggling right now. The Rangers of now aren't the Rangers we thought they were going to be. They played the Sharks. They played the Flames. They've played some easier teams. So they have upset some teams, but I'm not really seeing that the Blues have played the elite of the elite as far as their opponents so far this season. So with that being said, Carm, I do think the Devils have a good night. You look at the night here. Some books are showing like even money. Some books you have to lay a price. But the best number I can give right now, just checked it, plus 105 team total, get to 4 goals for the New Jersey Devils. Something very rare. The Blues haven't allowed that much lately, but I think it's a good spot for the Devils here. What about you?
Is there a way that we could cash that bet for you while keeping this game under the total of 5.5? Because I do like the under here. The one thing about the Devils is last year they were a team that scored a bunch of goals, but they allowed just as many. And this is one of the reasons why they missed the playoffs for like the 12th time in 13 years. But give credit where credit's due. Sheldon Keefe's done a good job in getting them to buy into his system and how he wants the Leafs to play. And it's the same as what he tried to get the Leafs to do in the playoffs. So we saw them against the Boston Bruins, and those were a lot of 2-1, 3-2 type of games. If the team isn't ready to play that type of style, and he tried to implement it, in the last month with the Leafs, it's got to be from the start. I'm the guy who wanted Pierre Maguire fired about 18 times during the regular season, but the Florida Panthers bought into his style of play, and they made it to a cup final, and then they won the cup in the following year. I'm not saying the New Jersey Devils are winning the cup this year, but they're playing better defense. You look at this team, and I think 5 straight unders for this team: 4-1 over the Hawks, 3-1 over the Kings. They lose to the Leafs in OT 2-1, 4-0 against Colorado and 3-2 against the Seattle Kraken. So, and then prior to that, a 5-1 game against the New York Rangers in which the total was at 6. So you can say 5-0-1 to the under their last 6. And the Blues are a team under Jim Montgomery are going to play a 200-foot game. They're going to play good defense, and they're going to try and win battles on the boards. So this is one in which it wouldn't surprise me if it stayed under the total. And it's one of those New Jersey wins. I think New Jersey looking to avenge a loss to the Blues as well too. So we got to keep that in mind as well too. That game I think was 3-0 in that one. So I'm leaning to the under in this one. Give me under 5.5. Anytime you take 5.5s and you're taking under, it always feels like you're trying to avoid that empty netter at the end of the game that puts it at 6. But 5.5 under for me, Andrew, in this one. What are your thoughts? Can we both win this one? 4-1 Devils, and you're happy?
That's fine by me. That is fine by me, because you know what? I think this is going to be one of those games that if I do end up jumping in on this team total, it's going to be one of those sweaty ones where it's a 2-1 late in the game. They score the third one, and I'm cheering for the empty netter. Right? I'm cheering for that empty netter. It's going to be a kind of a late in the game, not one of those where I'm expecting to get to 4 goals rather easily by any means. But that's the thing, Carm, about this Blues team, like I mentioned. And I'm not trying to discredit them because I've made money on them, and I wish I continued to bet on them. Because if Dave Koken was on the show with us, he would have bet on St. Louis every single game after Montgomery got hired. Every single game. And I only did it for like 2 or 3 games, okay? This team has been playing extremely well, and a lot of it is due to their defense. So I think that does benefit your bet there, Carm, on the total. I'm starting to buy into what everybody talks about with this Devils team at home versus on the road. You only told me for about 4 months, and now I'm finally starting to listen.
You're finally starting to listen. This is what you're saying, Andrew. You're doing fine. You're on a nice little run in the NHL. Just keep that run going. Andrew, before we go to your prop section, I just want to address Kylie, hopefully I pronounce his name right, Kylie Reynolds, asking, is there a parlay I like tonight? If Dave Koken was here right now, the late great Dave Koken, he'd be like, don't play parlays, guys. They're money burners. But still, with that in mind, I would probably play the Washington Capitals. They played a really good one in Dallas last night, but Dallas just played extremely well. I would take them in Chicago tonight, and I would parlay that with the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes, a little bit of a revenge factor as well, too. Andrew, having lost 4-3 in New York, I think earlier this month or at the end of last month, you take those two and you get plus 119 on your money. So that's one way of looking at it. You can turn a couple big favorites that are, I think, in good spots and turn them into a plus money two-teamer. I think the more teams you add, the better chance you have of losing, not of making more money. So keep it at 2 teams, and you get almost plus 120 on your money. With that said, Andrew, it's time for your prop program. Give us some winners.
Karma got 3 today. Yesterday on the segment, we went 2-0-1. We had 2 winners, and 1 was a void because Barkov didn't play. So we can't win or lose his prop if he does not play and does not suit up. He was a game-time decision, so apologies on that, guys. But we did hit the Hyman prop, and we did cash the other one. So feeling good about that, and hopefully we can keep things going. Before I jump into it, though, guys, $5 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com, $5 Tuesday. I'm on a 9-0 NHL run. We hit number 9 last night with the first period over, Florida and Edmonton. That promo code I had yesterday is still available. Season150, Season150 takes $150 off my full NHL season package. Guys, forget about one play, forget about 1 week. If you want to hop on board with me right now, use that deal, Season150, to take $150 off my full NHL season at wt.buzz/AM. All right, we just talked about this game, and I'm going to go right back to it. This is one of those matchup type prop bets here. And we're going to go with Nico Hischier over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 130 from the New Jersey Devils. I think this is a good matchup for them. This is a game where they're going to use their speed against the St. Louis Blues, where the top guys will be able to outclass the top guys on the Blues lineup. And for whatever the reason might be, guys, this Devils team is a better team on the road. They score more goals on the road. Their top guys perform at a higher level on the road. So Nico Hischier over 2.5 shots on goal, the captain of this team, to get us started here with the prop segment. The next one we're going to go with Brad Marchand from the Boston Bruins. We're going to take him as well over 2.5 shots on goal. This isn't really a matchup thing. This is just the captain heating up. This is the captain of this team saying, you know what? We have to get on a run. We've been far too inconsistent. He's been taking matters into his own hands, being a lot more offensive himself. He has hit this prop in 5 straight games. They're playing a Flames team that I simply do not trust defensively. They will give up a ton of chances in this game, over 2.5 shots on goal. And I was going to go with just 2 for today, but I had to throw in this one here as a Canadiens fan. Lane Hudson to get a point, minus 120. He has a point in 8 of his last 9 games. Ever since they moved him to the number 1 power play unit, he has been fantastic for the Montreal Canadiens. In fact, he has assisted on every single goal that Patrik Laine has scored since returning from his long injury that he sustained. A lot of you guys might say to me, why am I not playing the assist? I told you guys all before, he won't score goals. He just gets the assist. Well, he scored his first career goal in Winnipeg on Saturday. And as you guys know, a lot of times that stuff happens in bunches. So I don't want to worry about losing this prop because he scores a goal tonight. We'll play it safe with the point at minus 120. He's got a point in 8 of his last 9 games. That's it. Those 3 props, guys. And again, don't forget about my 9-0 NHL run. $5 play today, but that promo code season150 takes $150 off the full season package. And that works for Carmine as well. Hopefully we can both keep things going and get a really, really good run going into 2025. Back to you, Carm.
I like them all. I've been chatting away with the guys in our live chat. Our live chat's great. And I don't just say that because, they enjoy the show, they like the show, or they leave us good comments. I don't even mind when someone says, all right, Carm, let's get going. Let's get on a streak, right? Because it's been like roller coaster. It's like October, November, December. It's like I don't mind it because you guys are clients, even the ones who aren't clients. You watch the show, you want winners on the show as well too. So this is what we're trying to do. So we love the comments that come in, and you guys share information with each other in the live chat as well too. Whether it's starting goalies, whether it's players out of the lineup, it is great. It's a community. The PuckTime, the Pucksters are a community here. We absolutely love you guys for sharing info with each other each and every day. Andrew, with that said, at some point, as soon as I get back from Vegas, I'm starting a new segment. It is called Get Dan to the Super Bowl. My friends used to do this for the World Series of Poker, so I'm going to explain this one to you really quickly. My friends who didn't want to buy into the main event at the World Series of Poker, which is 10K, Andrew, would try this once and once only. It's not like a ladder challenge. They would bet 100 on an even money play and then keep rolling it over 7 straight times, which is so difficult to do. Only one of the guys ever pulled it off. 7 straight wins, all at even money. 100 turns into 12.6, and he registered for the main event and was eliminated on day 1. But he crossed something off his bucket list. I'm going to do the same. I am sending Dan to the Super Bowl if I can pull off 7 straight wagers. The one caveat of this whole thing is Dan said to me in my ear, Carm, I need to be picking all of the games, not you, Carm. So I take that as a bit of a compliment. No. Listen, we're
It
friends.
was a mean thing to say. The audience shouldn't know how
It's
mean I
not.
am to you guys behind the
It's not a
scenes.
mean thing to
You
say,
know,
Dan.
we need to keep.
What better revenge? What better revenge is there for you to get to the Super Bowl and then watch the Buffalo Bills absolutely annihilate your Eagles 73
That's
to
mean.
3? That would be the absolute best. But with
73.
that said, Andrew,
Are they playing
73.
basketball? Jesus.
because Nick Sirianni kicks a field goal at the end, so you don't lose 73 nothing. With that said, Andrew, we got to
Don't
continue
worry.
on. It's release the Kraken night in Seattle. Are we taking the Ottawa Senators minus 130 or the Seattle Kraken plus 110? What are you doing tonight? Are you feasting on some Ottawa cuisine or is it some calamari tonight in the Kraken? How are you breaking this one down?
Well, I'm not much of a seafood guy, Carm, but tonight I am releasing the Kraken. I look, this has been a good stretch of games for the Ottawa Senators, and I cannot deny that. Allmark has started to play well. Allmark has started to be the Allmark that people expected him to be. But this Ottawa Senators team, they can't maintain winning games, scoring a few goals, right? If they're asking their goaltender to bail them out. They were so used to so long having to score 4 or 5 goals to win games because they didn't have reliable goaltending. Now they have Allmark finding his stride, and the scoring has dried up a little bit. It's very rare for me to see a 2-0 win or a 3-0 win for this Ottawa Senators team. I never thought we'd see the day that would happen. So hats off to them. But I like this motivated spot. Seattle will not be happy after the game they're coming off of. In fact, their last few games they've played have not been great. They've been inconsistent. They win a great game, put 4-5-1, then they lose 4-5-1. They're very inconsistent that way. But they're a team that I want to back at home. I've talked a lot about betting home versus road. Team is one of those teams that I definitely want to be backing when they're playing at home. I love the short underdog number here for this team, and I'm curious to see how Ottawa can do and how they can transfer their momentum when they head out on the road. So, Carm, this is a show best bet here with the Seattle Kraken. I like them to get the job done and spoil the party for the Ottawa Senators. What do you think here? The dog barking in this game, or are you riding the road team?
This is like a huge test for the Ottawa Senators, Andrew. I'm kind of leaning to the Sens in this one. It is a huge test for them because, like I mentioned, they have like 9 games on the road. That is a long road trip. We've seen some teams. I can't remember. There was one team that had 2 7-game road trips already. These road trips either bring you together or pull you apart. And this is an Ottawa team that's starting to play a lot better, Andrew. A lot was expected of this team heading into the season. Could they be a team that vies for one of those playoff spots? Could they be a team that could possibly finish in the top 3 in the Atlantic Division? Right now, they have the 8th spot, and they have the 8th spot on the heels of a win streak, 5 wins in their last 6 games. The one loss coming to the New York Islanders. Somehow, the Islanders went to Ottawa and got the win there. But nonetheless, I'm impressed by this team. They went on the road and beat Carolina 3-0 in Carolina, a team that has the second best home record. Only the Leafs are a better team at home thus far this season in the Eastern Conference record-wise. So they're playing well. They're buying into what they're supposed to be doing, which is playing some defense, scoring goals. And you look at those games in which they've won. They allowed a goal to the Red Wings, a goal to Nashville. They lose that one to the Islanders that I mentioned, but they allow a goal to the Anaheim Ducks. They shut out Carolina, and then they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in OT, allowing 2 goals in that one. They're playing extremely well from a defensive point of view. And defense is so important when you hit the road. You have to be able to play well because normally you're not going to go on the road and win high-scoring games unless you're a team like the Avalanche, unless you're a team that scores a lot of goals. So with that thought in mind, I was kind of leaning to the over in this one. It's sitting at 5.5. But the fact that I can't take an over in a game in which I like it, the way the team is playing defense, I think Ottawa gets off to a good start. I'm looking at, again, that first period money line, Andrew, that you can get them at minus 120-ish here. I think the key for the Ottawa Senators on this road trip is getting a win in their first couple of games. Getting wins in their first couple of games. They play the Kraken tonight, then they play Calgary in the next game, and I think Ottawa's a much better team than Calgary is. It's obviously being played in Calgary, but then they have very tough games: Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver Canucks. It is not an easy schedule for this Ottawa team. The best way to get on a roll is by winning the games that you should be winning. And tonight is one of those games. The one against Calgary is one of those games. If they get a win tonight, I'm coming right back with them against the Calgary Flames. You heard it here. But give me the first period in this one. I'm looking for a quick start by the Ottawa Senators.
Carm, there you go again, man, with those early quick starts. You got too many plans that night. You don't even want to watch the second and third periods anymore. You're the first period man lately here with these games.
Andrew, yeah, listen, I hate the fact that I have to go against you because you like the Seattle, because you're like the Red Hot Chili Peppers right now, man. You're on fire. You never want to go against a guy who's on a great streak. It's kind of like trying to catch that falling knife, right? So you don't want to get in front of them. So hopefully I get the better of you on this one, Andrew. So I'll give you one tomorrow, man. Just give me this one today. I know it's the best bet.
Right.
Let us know what you have up on $5 Customer Appreciation Day at WagerTalk. Give us a show best bet. I know you mentioned it already, but do it again, and then I'll go next.
Yeah, so Seattle just missed my client card. So this isn't a client play. This isn't a favorite play for me on the day, but I'm just trying to get ahead of some of this momentum here for the Senators and kind of trying to test them to see if they can sustain what they're doing right now. And I think Seattle's going to be incredibly motivated. I like how they're playing at home, and we'll see if Ottawa can turn what they were doing at home into the same type of play on the road. Is really the big challenge I think they'll be facing tonight. So I do like that price we're getting on the Kraken at home. But guys, going for winner number 10 in a row tonight in the NHL. You guys can get that for just $5 or use that promo code season150. Join me, guys, for the full season. You'll get every single every single play I release, but also in the playoffs. That's the big thing. You're going to get all the plays in the playoffs as well, all the futures that I release. So if you buy this package, you're with me pretty much until May with the NHL and with all my plays. Season150. This is probably the best deal we'll have, for a little while, because once the new year starts, the prices will drop, and we're going to have to probably not really do too many coupon codes for the full entire season. So season150, get my full season for $150, but join me for our 10th straight winner tonight. Over to you, Carm.
Love it, Andrew. My show best bet, first up at WagerTalk play, it's a 4% play. Someone had asked if it was a 3 or 4% play. It's a 4% play up in the NHL tonight. We've had, I think, 13 customer appreciation plays, because this started back in August. 9-4 with customer appreciation plays. Andrew, I was looking over them this morning, and the last two that I lost were the Florida Panthers in regulation time. So I don't know if Florida's playing tonight. If they are, I don't have them on my card because I'm not getting the turkey with them and 3 straight strikes. But I do have a play up. It's a 4% play, and another package that will be up within 10 minutes of this show going off the air. And if you want to pick that one up, it'll be priced at $29, but you can use the coupon code. This is day 7 of my 12 days of Christmas. You can use coupon code XMIS7. XMIS7 will get you $10 off of that. So that'll drop it down to $19 for 3 additional plays on tonight's NHL card. If I add anything else, that'll be added to the card. But right now it is 3 plays, and that'll be up very shortly. My show best bet's going to be Carolina in regulation time. I mentioned a rapid revenge spot for the Canes, having gone into into New York and losing in New York. This is a New York team that isn't playing well right now. Definitely not playing well on the road, and a Carolina team that has the second best record in the Eastern Conference. As I mentioned, I'm taking the Canes at home in 60 minutes to get it done against the dreaded Thailanders, as you guys love to call them in our live chat. So that's it for today, guys. 3 games, including the marquee one, Buffalo and Montreal. My God, I can't believe we even discussed that one, Andrew, but we did. Tomorrow, it is Andrew and I. Don Buster's in on Thursday with Andrew. Brian Leonard's in on Friday with Andrew. I will be off to Vegas. I will film my 6 and 60 from one of the sports books there, and we will air it on Friday's show. But that's it for now, guys. Best of luck tonight. Head over to WagerTalk, take advantage of the $5 customer appreciation. And for myself, Andrew McInnes, and producer Dan, this is Puck Time. We'll see you on Wednesday.